on this edition of Cronkite Sports Report.
The story of a man who summits the challenges in his life.
What it will take for triathlon to become a permanent sport in the NCAA.
The son of a legend looking to make a name for himself.
A local nonprofit making miracles on the diamond.
A Chandler native challenges the role women play in skateboarding. These stories coming your way now on Cronkite Sports Report.
Our team at Arizona State University's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication looks to bring you unique sports stories with an Arizona connection. I'm Anthony Totri.
And I'm Claudia Faust. Thanks for joining us.
We begin tonight with a story of recovery. A serious mistake in life is something that can send many into a downward spiral.
But Cronkite News reporter Scotty Gange introduces us to a man who reaches for the mountaintop every single day.
Okay, Google. Take me to Camelback Mountain.
How do you start your day?
All right, Camelback Mountain. Let's go.
No, let's rephrase that.
All right,
Start your day like Jeremy Ogle.
Camelback Mountain.
Let's go. Every morning, the 31-year-old summits the 2,700-foot mountain.
For me, it's a good thing. You start your day with just positivity, and it carries throughout the day.
For a guy who earns a living through professional racing, Jeremy doesn't waste his time. Both before and after his hike, he delivers food from the mobile app Postmates for extra cash. But his daily exercise doesn't end at the top of the mountain. From Camelback to the inside of this gym, Jeremy is what some would call a physical marvel. But his workout routine goes far beyond just building muscle.
I like to inspire people to aspire to be a better them, because I truly believe that the best and most inspirational thing that you can do is to be yourself.
From the outside, Jeremy's life could be described as an upward climb.
Morning.
But for the guy that can bench press 100 pounds and deadlift as much as 345, Ogle turned a life-changing mistake into an opportunity.
I had a blood alcohol level at the hospital of 0.274, which, as you know, is above 3 times the legal limit.
In 2015, Jeremy collided with a car as he rode his motorcycle home after a night out drinking. He suffered nerve damage in his spine, leaving his left arm numb and paralyzed. Eventually, he decided to amputate it.
Not everyone is lucky as to me to be 4 years later minus 1 arm and life 1,000 times better.
Since the accident, he's won a National Para-Spartan race, 2 National Paralympic Team USA medals for track and field, and just to rub it in, he ran a marathon this past March.
I mean, I could even probably sum it up to one of the biggest challenges is that people think that I have it harder than other people.
While the last 4 years have been full of physical accomplishments for Jeremy, his growth mentally has been far more important.
I've always been depressed. I spent 31 years being negative and angry.
In his 20s, Ogle says he struggled with substance abuse, but now he hopes to help others on their path, as he did for himself.
You know, my story isn't a sad one.
Jeremy's life has not been a walk in the park. It's been an uphill battle, and a difficult one at that. And as I, or rather anyone, would peel off to take a break right about now, Jeremy never could, as his daughter Eloise was born 3 months after his accident.
Because Eloise is the peak of Jeremy's life.
What? This is the best part.
With her mother out of the picture, Jeremy has full custody. But for a single father who goes by the nickname Arm Solo, Jeremy is as far away from alone as you can be.
My life is 100 times better than what it was. It actually has purpose and value now.
Jeremy's love for his adorable 4-year-old has been the ultimate fuel to live a healthy life filled with joy. So, how do you start your day? Now, it's different for everyone, but learn from Jeremy, because he would tell you what really matters is to make it matter.
I will see you on the way down.
From Phoenix, Scotty Gange, Cronkite Sports Report.
Jeremy was able to overcome his challenges by focusing on what really matters in life, his daughter.
And with life being full of obstacles, Jeremy hopes people can use his story as inspiration in their own life to climb any mountain they face.
We now go from the mountain to the water to begin our next story. The women's triathlon program at Arizona State has been dominant, winning national championship after national championship. It's a dominance they hope will continue as long as triathlon sticks around at the collegiate level.
As Madison Carter reports, ASU is working with USA Triathlon to earn the sport a permanent stay with the NCAA.
Arizona State recently won its 4th consecutive triathlon national championship in its 4th year competing in the sport. a national championship is what every and any team's goal is, but for ASU Triathlon, it's much deeper than raising a trophy. It's about triathlon's future as a permanent NCAA sport.
We really feel, being, one of the larger schools, it's sort of our duty, our responsibility to help promote the sport.
In 2015, the USA Triathlon Foundation awarded Arizona State and 7 other schools with the inaugural Women's Triathlon Emerging Sport Grant. It provided nearly $500,000 across 8 programs to get the wheels turning for triathlon at the collegiate level and put Arizona State at the center of trying to establish triathlon as a permanent NCAA sport.
That's been anything from going to conferences to present to getting on the phone with the school. We've actually have had schools come and visit us for half a day, showing them how we have everything set up, like showing them the facilities.
For triathlon to earn a long-term slot with the NCAA, the sport needs at least 40 D1 and D2 level schools to participate. That count currently sits at 34 programs according to USA Triathlon, who is actively recruiting athletes and schools to jump into the triathlon waters with them.
We're also reaching out to athletes, triathletes, single sport athletes in swim, bike, run, and other sports to say, hey, have you thought about maybe NCAA for you in a sport that has not been around that long at the collegiate level?
When talking to potential institutions, Tim Yount, USA Triathlon's Chief Sport Development Officer, said a main selling point is what triathletes can bring to their schools besides their athletic ability: academic success.
So we're able to encapsulate that into an overview piece and a discussion with a lot of the administrators to say, first of all, 3.5 average GPA. Is there another sport, another organization, another group that can say that? Not many.
You're not just adding student athletes, you're adding like leaders and role models, and these young ladies are the whole package.
The USA Triathlon National Championship has been hosted here in Tempe for the past 3 years. Having the championship in a well-known location such as Tempe Town Lake is a great way for the sport to be recognized.
So that helps raise awareness because we're so centrally located and it's a really public area. So people kind of see what's going on and they're like, oh wow, I didn't know triathlon was NCAA.
Triathlon currently sits 6 programs from the finish line. Yount says once they reach the 36 to 37 mark, the process will move even faster.
We believe, we are hopeful anyway, that come next year, this time, we will be at 40, and the process for getting NCAA to move it to the next stage will have started.
Once we make that mark, it just validates everything that we know, okay, we're here, we arrived, we're on the path, so it's really exciting.
In Tempe, Madison Carter, Cronkite Sports Report.
Once triathlon achieves permanent status, the NCAA will officially oversee the sport, creating rules and standards in managing the national championship.
Coming up next on Cronkite Sports Report.
A high school athlete who's building a nameless legacy of his own. Welcome back to Cronkite Sports Report.
The daily life of a high school student is tough enough, but throw in being an athlete whose last name carries the weight of the world.
There's one football player at Hamilton High School who is grateful and proud of where he comes from, but still works on a daily basis to carve out a name of his own. I caught up with the wide receiver who hopes to one day be nameless. At Hamilton High School, there's a young man with the number 2 printed on a jersey he wears every Friday night. He's praised as a leader by teammates and coaches, with a work ethic that won't run out until he's reached the status of legend. That young man is Brendan.
Yes, sir! Everyone knows that on the field that he can get the ball any play, anywhere, anytime.
Brendan plays wide receiver for the Huskies, and he's in the midst of a senior season during which he committed to play Division I football at the University of Colorado and was selected to play in the 2020 All-America game. But being a great wide receiver isn't new to Brendan, because doing so runs in the family. And once people know that, they often only see him as one thing.
Jerry Rice's son. Jerry Rice's son off the bat.
While Brendan is grateful to have the last name Rice and be proud of his father being widely considered the greatest wide receiver in NFL history, it's a constant reminder of who and what people say he has to live up to.
You really have to look at it as like a blessing. But at the same time, it's my greatest downfall because I don't want to be recognized as just Jerry Rice's son. I want to be recognized as Brendan Rice.
I think you just let him know that, that's what he accomplished. This is what this person accomplished. What will you do? And, what kind of work are you going to put forward to make sure that you accomplish this or better?
Being the son of an NFL Hall of Famer is one thing. Taking the criticism, verbal abuse from opponents, and expectations are another.
Just people saying, be Rice who, you'll never live up to your name. I have these such great expectations, but at the same time, there's days that I'm truly not, I do not want to live up to them.
Brendan's parents were never married, and Brendan never lived under the same roof as his father. But both Jackie and Jerry put any differences aside for the benefit of their son. And today, Brendan lives with his mother in Chandler, just a few miles from where he spends his time on the field as a Hamilton Husky. While Brendan and his mother lean on one another, it's his relationship with his father that's grown over the years. It's gone from a few phone calls here and there to the point where now Brendan and Jerry talk on a regular basis about so much more than just football, but about life.
Win the day. Win the day.
And when the critics come calling, that's when Brendan earned his 21 collegiate offers and racked up 26 varsity touchdowns and counting in just 3 years. Those were the days that fueled the fire of a star in the making.
I want to be better than Jerry Rice. I want to be the greatest receiver of all time.
He's learned to do the things he doesn't want to do to be good at the things that he wants to do.
Brendan was considered too slow by some colleges, so he ran track. Some said he wasn't versatile enough. So now he plays both offense and defense. But his time on the field is temporary. And that's why off the field, Brendan's priority is family.
My mom is everything to me, absolutely everything. She went to hell and back for me. And I'm just eternally grateful for her, forever.
My kids are everything to me, period. There's, the mama bear does come out. They are the best thing I've ever done. So, yeah, they're everything to me.
It's cliche, but Brendan is the definition of family, faith, and football. Brendan may be the son of a legend, but a name doesn't make you legendary. And the thing about Brendan is he knows that. While he strives to one day be the best to ever play and surpass his father as the greatest wide receiver in NFL history, Rice will always be on the back of his jersey. While that won't change, Brendan isn't looking to be the next great Rice. Rather, he hopes to one day be so much more.
I want to go about this. I want to make my own brand as Nameless and leave my mark on the world forever. I want to leave my mark doing things around the community as well as doing stuff in the football field. And that's what it truly means to me.
Although we reached out to Jerry Rice on several occasions, unfortunately he was not available for an interview for this story.
Moving forward with the Huskies having been eliminated in the Open Division playoffs, Brendan turns his full attention to his future at the University of Colorado. When we return to Cronkite Sports Report,
how a local nonprofit is creating miracles on the diamond.
We'll have that story for you next on Cronkite Sports Report.
Welcome back. The Miracle League of Arizona provides a special place for children and adults with disabilities to play baseball.
The diamond serves as an outlet for many, including 18-year-old Carson Harrell. Our Rob Warner takes us to their field of dreams for more.
Keep an eye on the ball.
He may sound like a coach.
Foul ball.
Or even an umpire, but he's really one of the best players in the Miracle League of Arizona, a baseball program for children and adults with special needs.
Next battle.
He's Carson Harrell, the gentle giant that plays more baseball games with the Miracle League than anyone else. Standing at 6'6", 18-year-old Carson was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder as a baby. His verbal communication skills are extremely limited, but it doesn't seem that way when he's on the field. Carson's father, Dave, says that here at the Dan Heron Field in North Scottsdale, everything slows down for his son.
It's his best place, and it's a lot like this pretty much everywhere he goes, because kids on the autism spectrum typically aren't friendly and outgoing. He is the most social autistic kid I've ever met in my life. His communication is limited. He communicates with smiles.
And smiles are all Carson has when talking about the Miracle League.
Playing Miracle League is my favorite thing.
Most Miracle Leaguers play one game a week. A few play twice. Carson, though, sets the record with 3 each week.
That's right.
And has done so for the last 7 years.
We bring each player a jersey for each one of their teams with their name and number printed on the back. I can guarantee you, after all these years and all the teams he's played on, he's got to have 50 Miracle League jerseys.
Carson's love for baseball goes beyond just playing. He also hits homers, and lots of them.
Without question, Carson has hit more home runs than anybody in Miracle League of Arizona history, has played in more games than anybody in our history.
Harold has a consecutive game streak that rivals Cal Ripken Jr.'s. In fact, last year, he suffered a lower back injury so severe he had to go to the hospital. But on his way to the emergency room, Carson insisted on coming to the Miracle League to play his game first.
Still went 3 for 4. Didn't quite have the power or the speed that day that we're used to from Carson.
He literally could not bend to get in the car. I had to lean the seat back, recline the seat so he could just pour himself into the car to get here.
I call Carson Tigger, like the Winnie the Pooh character, because he's always bouncing. And when he's bouncing, he's happy. And when he's happy, the dude's infectious.
It's the purest expression of him being happy.
He doesn't just play ball. Carson also conducts the national anthem and acts as a leader on his team. But more than all that, being a part of the Miracle League allows Carson to show who he really is, even if he can't vocalize it.
Usually a leader has to be inspirational. Here it's just infectious. He didn't speak till he was 7. So before he could really speak, everybody thought there really wasn't much going on in there. And now you can see with just the skill level that he has and the ability that he has to draw people to him, he has some natural leadership abilities that can be recognized even without the communication.
And when he's on the field, Carson knows what he is.
Champion.
It gives him a place where he can shine. In a world where his communication is limited, where his academics are limited, there's a lot of, hey, he can't do this. There's nothing he can't do at Miracle League. It's baseball as it was meant to be. It's a game.
The Miracle League has no age limit, so Carson hopes to extend his consecutive game streak for many more years to come. In Scottsdale, Rob Warner, Cronkite Sports Report.
Carson's love for Miracle League has even earned him some extra opportunities.
Last year, the organization selected him to throw out the ceremonial first pitch at a Diamondback spring training game. After the time spent in the Miracle League, Carson had no problem firing off a strike.
When we return to Cronkite Sports Report,
one Chandler athlete hoping to get to the Olympics by way of the half pipe. Welcome back to Cronkite Sports Report. In our next story, Claudia Faust introduces us to a pretty rad 11-year-old from Chandler. Claudia was in Huntington Beach, California to catch up with Paige Hine.
That's right, Anthony. We're dropping in on the life of Paige, whose goal of going to the Olympics isn't exactly a pipe dream. At just 11 years old, Paige is skating her way to the top. After school, 11-year-old Paige Hine trades in her backpack for a skateboard. All to ace kickflips, 540s, and skating rails. Paige got her first skateboard 3 years ago as a gift from her uncle and hasn't been able to let go of the sensation or her skateboard since.
The feeling of like landing a new trick and also meeting new friends and having the same level as them and learning tricks with them.
There was something very unique about her passion for it and just the drive she had to learn new tricks and kind of learn like the lingo and just as much as she could about the culture in skateboarding.
But the skateboard community and culture is still growing, and Paige is usually one of the few, and at times the only girl at the skate park.
Sometimes you'll see like a few other girls just kind of like riding around, but there's usually not many girls.
Less than 20% of skaters in the 2019 X Games were women, leaving women like pro skater Amelia Brodka feeling outnumbered.
I really wanted to compete and vert at the X Games, and I was an alternate one year, and then next year I tried even harder. I learned all these new tricks, and I submitted my video to the event coordinators, and they said, Wow, Amelia, this is a great video. We had you on the competitors list, but the women's event was canceled. And that just broke my heart. It seemed like the thing that I was striving for, what I was dreaming to accomplish, it just all of a sudden was taken away.
Now women like Amelia are paving the way, or the streets, for young girls so they can get the opportunities they didn't get when they were growing up. Amelia co-founded the nonprofit Skate Exposure in 2012 to put on an all-female skate competition every year, giving girls like Paige the chance to surround themselves with the most talented skaters around the world.
Coming to an event like this is insane. It's so rad to see so many girls competing. I think there were 200 girls signed up to skate this event, and that's just crazy. Like back in the day, it would be like maybe 4 girls signed up to skate an event. My very first skate contest, there were 7 girls signed up.
Skateboarding has gained so much popularity that there will actually be 2 events in the 2020 and 2024 Summer Olympics. One will be park, and the other is Paige's favorite, street.
I think it'll be amazing to have skateboarding represented on the global scale and for people to see other people who look like them, people that they can relate to performing in the sport, and that will help inspire them to do it as well.
Paige has skated in competitions across the country and recently overseas in Brazil, all in hopes to qualify for the 2024 Olympics.
I feel like her goals right now are X Games and the Olympics, and what an exciting time. I think it's amazing that this wasn't even a possibility before, and now she has Olympic dreams.
Paris 2024 is the goal, and Paige feels confident she'll be there.
I can't wait to be in the Olympics.
No matter what happens, one thing is for sure. She will never go a day without skating.
It's like attached to me now. It's like I can't live without it.
Skate Exposure has a youth branch in Phoenix called Skate Rising.
This program also works to empower girls through skateboarding, holding free events every month for girls between the ages of 4 and 18.
That will do it for this episode of Cronkite Sports Report.
Thanks for joining us.